All right, it's Friday, May 31st. This is an end of the day, an end of the week, an end of the month recap. So today, first of all, in the daily chart, we end up with a 3 bar, meaning we took out the high and low of the previous day. We first went down and took out the low. We'll show in a minute why that was expected. And again, given the way structure unfolded, not surprising at all. That we eventually came up and then took out the high of the day and closed very strong. It falls in line with a lot of the big picture context that's in play. First of all, on the weekly chart, the way I've been viewing it, we've come up and made an all-time high. That's a logical pause area, taking out this pivot up here. So all this action in here, I'm not surprised that it would be pausing, ready for another potential move up. And given the reversal today, it looks like it might be, the kind of pause we were waiting for and the resumption of the move back up as we go forward. In terms of the monthly chart, coming to the last day of the month, we wanted to see how this bar would end, and after a 2-up green month, it closes much, very close to the highs of that month. So whether we pause a little bit more or whatever, you're expecting that green bar to follow through higher. Anytime you see a green bar here, I look for it to follow through higher, whether it's early on or whether it comes down and first holds the midpoint of the bar and then goes higher. We'll see how it develops. But either way, you're kind of expecting higher into next month, and that falls in line with the move to all-time highs on the weekly chart that logically would pause in this area. In terms of the structure today, again, well, let's look at the week overall. I mean, we came into the week inside a big range here on these, last 2 weeks. And I was talking about that. Are we going to break out and continue, or are we going to, fail? And if we break out, especially on the downside, the big picture was probably going to close green on the month. So we're just looking for some area down here where it could hold and eventually have a weekly reversal to the upside. And this kind of has the look of kind of a weekly hammer bar that should start higher. And certainly the daily bar should follow through higher. Even though it's a 3 bar on a short-term basis, it could be lower lows, higher highs, back to low lows. In this case, it's more failing to break out of a range, reversal bar, looking to probably now go to the top of the range up here. So all week long, we started out the week here with an inside bar, wanting to see how we were going to get out of this range. And the very first day of the week, it was a 4-day week, but at the very first day, we kind of started to move lower. You would think you might, and then we couldn't, really even get a 2-down day, and we closed kind of near the high. Even though it's a red bar, we closed near the high. So it looked like maybe on this day, failed to break out lower, maybe we'll start higher. Then we gapped down immediately. And again, right out of the gates on the next day, we tried at the bottom of the range to move up, but really couldn't go anywhere. So we failed. And that led to a pretty high expectations, giving 2 attempts to go up that it couldn't do it, that we'd go down. And then yesterday was a nice red day that looked like you might be breaking out of this range. And like I discussed, this weekly chart might have a red bar. We might have a few weeks down. Who knew? Even though you're expecting something in here to hold and go higher. But, today you certainly were expecting things to go lower with that red bar, maybe breaking out of a range, maybe a closing with a big, strong red week. So if we go to the 15-minute chart out of the gates, first bar kind of between the blue lines was the pre-market range. First bar pause, second bar down. And I bought puts here, and I discussed how we were likely going to get to yesterday's low, pre-market lows. And the important thing was on the weekly chart, it was a 2-down week, and we had our target right here to get to that weekly low. That's all price needed to do. So anyone who bought puts in here, whether you exited at one target, or in this case, I'll highlight what the weekly low was with this mouse right there. You can see it. I'm kind of flashing it here on the 15-minute chart. So anyone who is buying puts here, you had to know this was a key target that the price was, reaching. And I would say exit there, or, watch it very closely. If you want to wait for the first new high, whatever it is. It was a very nice trade to the downside on the typical morning trade I look for. You can almost look at it as one push, pause, second push to that area. Then it comes up and you still think you're in a down environment. But on this move here, the orderly pullback and the pausing, it never really gave you a red bar down. Then it started creeping up all day. It got back to the halfway point of the prior day. And again, just not surprising on the last 3 bars, it decided to go all the way back up to those highs. Again, could you have known for sure that it was going to be strong to the upside? No, but given it's a Friday, given it already hit its target in the big picture, given the fact that we are coming back up into this bar pretty strongly, bar of yesterday, just not surprising that the last 2 bars after just, once I saw it kind of heading up there, I'm not going to trade in the last half hour or so. But again, as I'm watching it creeping up, I'm thinking to myself, oh, okay, we're probably going to close strong here and have a big reversal day. You can see it unfolding here on the daily chart. And we certainly did. So that's where we end up. We have the shooter bar, the hammer bar, on the weekly chart. We'll see if this kind of midpoint of this tail holds down here. That's kind of the bottom of that range, which would be logical. We'll look for all kinds of up follow through. We'll see if we get to the highs of, if we get a 2-up week, then we're anticipating all-time highs. That falls in line with the monthly chart going green. So this to me looks so far, although anything's possible, so far it looks to be this was maybe that pullback after a big move up to new highs that's now ready to, resume another leg up. So that's kind of the expectations. As always, anything's possible, but today was very logical in terms of following through on the red bar, going to the weekly target, and then, that's all price gave you. And then it showed you that this was kind of the area after a consolidation and pullback that might be the area to kind of stop and then start a whole new trend. If you draw a trend line now, you can see this is kind of the low and we're 45 degrees up here. So we could be, grinding in some form all the way up there as time goes on. But as always, let price action lead the way. But, kind of an easy week. Yesterday was a good day of trading. Today was a good day of trading in the morning to the downside. And that's why I always look for my morning trades, and then I see if maybe there's a secondary trade that unfolds. Today it was, that's NVIDIA. Today it was the morning trade was down here. And, it was just pretty logical about given opening price action and the targets and everything else where it went to, and the reversal was obviously pretty strong. So that should be a sign that this whole thing should hold and move a lot higher. So we will see if we get some nice upward price action into next week to start the month. We're going to have a reference point on the first day of the month. That's going to be the open and the close. Whatever the open is, if we're above that, it'll be green on the month. Below that, we might temporarily be red. So we'll keep that in mind as the reference point going forward. So a whole new month starts next month, but you're certainly expecting things to move higher on the monthly chart, given the strong green bar and the logical pause area and the follow through a little bit. And from that point, we will go from there for the rest of the month of June.